Picture this, the year is 476 AD. A once mighty empire, the envy of the world, is on its knees. This isn't just a story of decline, it's the story of the final, desperate battles of the Western Roman Empire. So who threw the last punch? It wasn't a single epic battle like you see in movies. Instead, it was a slow, painful unraveling, a death by 1,000 cuts. For decades, Rome had been bleeding. Its borders were constantly under attack from migrating tribes. Goths, Vandals, Franks. The empire was split in two, east and west, with the west growing weaker by the day. Its economy was in shambles, its farmlands were ravaged, and its people were losing faith. The Roman army, once an unstoppable force, was now a shadow of its former self, filled with mercenaries whose loyalty was often for sale to the highest bidder. In these chaotic final years, powerful barbarian generals, known as magistri militum, were the real power behind the throne. They were the kingmakers, controlling weak puppet emperors. One of the most significant figures was a man named Ricimer. For nearly 20 years, he was the de facto ruler of the West, appointing and deposing emperors at will. He wasn't trying to destroy Rome, he was trying to hold it together in a way that served his own power. But the final act belongs to another Germanic chieftain, Odoacer. In 475, a Roman general named Orestes staged a coup and placed his own young son on the throne. This boy emperor's name was Romulus Augustus, often mockingly called Romulus Augustulus, or Little Augustus. He was a child, a pawn in a game far too big for him. Orestes had promised land in Italy to his barbarian soldiers to secure their support. But once in power, he went back on his word. This was a fatal mistake. The soldiers, led by the ambitious Odoacer, revolted. They didn't want to just raid the empire anymore, they wanted a piece of it for themselves. In 476, Odoacer's forces cornered Orestes in the city of Pavia and executed him. Then they marched on the western capital, Ravenna. The young emperor, Romulus Augustulus, barely a teenager, had no army and no support. On September 4th, 476, Odoacer forced him to abdicate the throne. This is the date historians traditionally mark as the end of the Western Roman Empire. But was it a great bloody battle? Not really. It was more like a corporate takeover. Odoacer didn't even declare himself emperor. Instead, he sent the imperial insignia, the diadem, the purple robe, to the Eastern Roman Emperor Zeno in Constantinople. The message was clear. There was no longer a need for a Western emperor. Odoacer would rule Italy as a king, theoretically under the authority of the East. Romulus Augustulus, the last emperor, wasn't killed. Odoacer, in a surprising act of mercy, exiled him to a comfortable estate in southern Italy, with a generous pension. He lived out the rest of his days in obscurity, a living footnote to the fall of the world's greatest empire. So the last fight of Rome wasn't a single glorious battle. It was a political maneuver, the culmination of decades of internal rot, external pressure, and shifting loyalties. The giant didn't fall with a thundering crash, but with a quiet, resigned sigh. A new era, the Middle Ages, was dawning on the rubble of what was once Rome. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey back in time interesting, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from history. See you next time.